as I said, today we will start the second unit, which is the evolution of computers. If you do have the handout or the document, please say yes or type yes in the chat, so I can know that all of you, yes, thank you very much. Okay, so let's open the document to page 1. We will be doing the same thing we did with the first unit. We will start by reading the text, for which I need volunteers to read the text, paragraph by paragraph, and then we're going to directly answer the questions. Yes, okay. So we will start in a few seconds, okay? Here to start reading the text. So today's text is about the evolution of computers. We will encounter the 5 generations of computers from the beginning, the early beginning of the creation of computers. So please, one of you to read the text, because I cannot read it all myself.
Miss, can you share it?
I've shared the document with your delegate.
No, the screen.
Yes, I'm using my phone, and the text is on my laptop. So does any one of you have the text so I can allow you to share the screen?
Let her.
Okay, go ahead, miss.
Computers in the form of personal desktop computers, laptops, and tablets have become such an important part of everyday lives. It's now hard to grasp that not so long ago, personal computers did not exist. Although computers have technically been in use since the abacus approximately 5,000 years ago, it's modern computers that have had the greatest and most profound impact on society.
So what kind of computers are we talking about in the first paragraph? What do we mean by personal desktop computers? What is a desktop?
It's one of the computers that we are using today.
I have no idea of what type of computers you are using. Are we talking about yourself or what?
Yes, miss. Some computers, like the modern computers, not
with the unit and the screen. Okay, this is a personal desktop computer. It's personal computer. Okay, there is another word I want you to think about, which is abacus. The abacus, it's mentioned in the 3rd line, the end of the 3rd line. I think it's still used nowadays, but it's not really popular. The abacus is the counting frame in which people used to count, to do mathematical, for example, calculations in the past. If you have access to Google, try to type the word and you will see pictures of this device, the abacus. Okay, someone to read the 1st generation computers, the 2nd paragraph. Ben Osman, can you read the 2nd paragraph?
Yes. First generation is full-sized digital computer in history was developed in 1945. Was it named Mark? It weighed 5 tons and was used only for calculation. Despite its size and limited ability, it was the first of many that would start off generations of computers. The development and growth. In fact, first generation computers created between 1940 and 1956 were extremely large in size. The inner working of the computer at the time was largely yes, I can see that word was largely
Let me see.
unsophisticated.
Extremely large in size, you mean?
Miss, I've read it.
Fred? Okay.
It was unsophisticated. The early machines required magnetic. What's that?
Magnetic drums.
Drums for memory and vacuum tubes that worked as switch and amplifiers. It was the vacuum tubes that were mainly responsible for the large size of machines and the massive amount of heat that they released. These computers produced so much heat that they were regularly overheated despite large cooling units.
Miss,
Now, if I ask you to describe the first generation computers, you
Yes.
guys, how was they?
Miss, can I share my screen first?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Let me allow you to share. Is it possible to share your screen? Without
No, Miss, you have to allow him.
Yes, I have to allow. Yes, please do.
Is it visible?
Yes. Okay, so I need one of you to describe the computers of the first generation.
Miss, they were
How was
huge.
they?
They were
Yes,
massive.
they were huge and massive. Yes, and what else?
And they heated a lot. They were overheating a lot, despite the larger cooling units.
Cooling units, yes, and what about the weight of these computers? Since they
Miss,
were
they
huge,
were very heavy. They
heavy, yes, they weighed 5 tons, they mentioned in the second line of the second paragraph, okay? What were they used for?
mainly for
They
calculations.
used to have only one function, yes?
Calculations.
Calculations, yes, thank you very much, okay. Now, what about, who can tell me what is the meaning of cooling units? What is the function of cooling units?
Miss, يبردها.
Yes, they cool down the heat. They minimize the heat in the computers. Is it clear? So, moving on to the second generation of computers, which are going to be much better compared to the first generations. Okay? I need another volunteer to read the text if it's possible.
Can I read the second paragraph?
The next
The third
paragraph,
paragraph.
which is the third one. The third one, yes.
Second generation. The second generation of computers developed from 1965 to 1963. 56 to 1963. Managed to do away with vacuum tubes and replaced them with transistors. This allowed computer to use less electricity and generate less heat. Second generation computers were also significantly faster and smaller than their predecessors. Another significant change was the fact that a core memory was developed for second generation computers.
Okay, so compared to the first generation computers, what has changed in the second generation computer?
They changed some of their components.
Yes, which are, can you refer to a few? Yes, we have the introduction of transistors here. But else, what is the function of transistors?
Miss, they are used in logic gates, which are used in the CPU.
Yes, but if you go back to the text, according to the text, what was
allows
the function
computer to use less electricity?
Yes, less electricity and generate less heat. Okay,
Less heat.
so computers now do not get heated for as quickly as they used to be in the past. Okay, so let's move to the next paragraph. The third generation of computers from 1964 to 1971.
Shall I read it, or someone else wanna read? I also read.
If someone wants to read, they're more than welcome. If not, you can read yourself. Okay, please read.
From 1946 to 1971, computers went through significant breakouts in terms of speed.
Breakthrough.
It's like a revolution.
Yes, but in the text it's written breakthroughs.
Breakthroughs. Okay. In terms of speed, courtesy of integrated circuits. Circuits or semiconductor chips were a large number of miniature transistors packed on silicon chips. This not only increased the speed of computers, but also made them much smaller, more powerful, and less expensive. In addition, instead of punch cards and the printouts, of previous systems, keyboard and monitor were not allowing people to interact with computer machines.
Keyboards and monitors were now allowing, not allowing. You said completely the opposite of the sentence in the text. Okay. So let's say, what was new about the third generation of computer? Here we can see that computers did improve a lot when it comes to the third generation of computers. They are now how? Smaller?
Smaller using integrated circuits.
Yes, faster and more powerful than the previous ones.
And cheaper.
What was new? What was introduced?
Keyboard and monitors.
Yes. What else?
Punch cards.
There's something else.
And the printouts of previous systems was changed.
Yes. What did they say about the chips? Semiconductor chips and silicon chips.
It said that this not only increased the speed of computer, but also made them much smaller, more powerful, and less expensive.
And less expensive, yes, and less expensive. So now it allows people to interact with computing machines. Here we can see the introduction of interaction between the computer and the person using it. Let's move to the next paragraph. The last one is the one who wanted to read. Can you read the
fourth generation computers?
I think Ben Osman is talking.
Yes.
Yes, I think.
To read.
Yes, I think that's too much for you.
It's okay.
It's okay? Yes, go ahead, please.
Fourth generation computers. The height of computer revolution took place in the year from 1971 till the present time. During this time, technology developed to a point where manufacturers could place a million of transistors on a single circuit chip. This was called the monolithic integrated circuit technology. It's also heralded the invention of the Intel 4004 chip, which was the first microprocessor to become commercially available in 1971. This invention led to the dawn of the personal computer industry by the mid-17th. Personal computers such as the Altair 8800 become available to the public in the in the public in the form of kit and required assembly. By the late 70s and 80s, assembled personal computers from home use, such as Commodore PET, Apple II, and the first IBM computer were making their way into the market. Personal computers and their ability to create network eventually would lead to the internet in the early 1990s. The fourth generation of computer also saw the creation of even smaller computers, including laptops and handheld devices, while computers' memory and storage also went through major improvement, with an increase in storage capacity and speed, which leave us to wonder what will the fifth generation of computers look like?
Okay, now I want someone to give me the highlights of the changes that happened concerning the fourth generation computers. We can see that a lot of changes happened. Yes?
Miss, some technology evolved. They were able to put millions of transistors in one circuit chip.
Mm-hmm. Which is a small one, yes?
Yeah. Miss, computers were available to the public, and they were widely commercialized. Like a lot of people were able to buy computers, which before they weren't able because they were really very expensive.
Yes. What else? In the 1990s, what happened?
1990s. The fourth generation of computers also saw the creation. They created the laptops and handheld devices.
Yes.
And computer memory and storage went through a major improvement. They increased their capacity.
The capacity of the storage, especially storage. Now, there's also something else that would have happened. Concerning computer ability, personal computers and their ability to create networks eventually would lead to what?
It led to the creation of the internet.
The internet, yes. This is the most important thing here. So the ability of the computers to create networks will later on lead to the introduction of the internet in the early 1990s, which is the most important thing here, okay? Now, I want one of you to answer the last question of this paragraph. What will the fifth generation of computers look like?
Miss, it's our present-day computers.
Yes.
Miss, we have laptops, which is completely new, which is like a computer that doesn't have a central unit. And that has a battery, like you can take it everywhere. Like computers are, we have the all-in-one computers, like it's a desktop computer, but doesn't have a central unit.
Yes.
Miss, like computers are way more powerful and more and smaller, and they are getting
more sophisticated. Day by day, they're getting more and more sophisticated. And can you imagine what would the capacities of the future computers? What kind of functions would computers have in the future?
Yes, we already have like very large storage capacity, and we also have the new SSD technology that made the computer faster.
Yes. What about the price of these computers? Are they accessible to everyone, or are they very expensive?
Like very good computers are very expensive, but you can find cheap computers that are less powerful.
Less powerful? Yes, less powerful than the expensive ones you've mentioned before. So the more the computer is sophisticated, the more sophisticated the computer is, the more expensive it actually is. This is a fact. Now, let's suppose that a new computer with more with more power, more capacity of storage, more speed when it comes to functioning, when it comes to especially the internet, would be introduced to the people. So the computers who were on top, who were more expensive, the most expensive one, will be less expensive when this computer, new model of computer, will be introduced. So this is a fact, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
Yes. So whenever we have a new computers with new capacities, okay. So especially if it was more sophisticated than the previous ones, so the price of the previous computers will
decrease.
Increase or decrease? Decrease, yes. Yes, thank you very much. Yes. So let's go to the last paragraph, and then we're going to answer the questions. Present and beyond. Yes, please, Nawal.
Present and beyond, in the future, computer users can accept even faster and more advanced computer technology. Fifth-generation computing devices based on artificial intelligence are still in development, though there are some applications such as voice recognition that are being used today. Quantum computation and nanotechnology will also radically change the face of computers in years to come. The goal of fifth-generation computing is to develop devices that respond to natural language inputs are capable of learning and self-organization.
Yes. So here they're talking about the computers. We actually the functions and the capacities of computers that we already have today. Now, can you imagine that computer would have more improvement in the future?
Yes, of course, miss.
What kind of improvement? For example,
Yes,
can you
for
think of
example,
something?
with the development of artificial intelligence, we have computers that might do things that might do things automatically. Like you ask the AI, for example, to write you, for example, an essay, and it will write it.
For example, you tell the computer, you command the computer to, for example, write an essay about the development of computers. It will do that.
Yes.
Without even giving it the yes, that's possible. Improvement, and I'm actually hopeful when it comes to computers. You'll never know what function they will have in the future. So let's be positive when it comes to that. Moving on to the questions. The first question, please try to raise your hands. If you want to answer the question, raise a hand. There is an option in this app which allows you to raise hand. To avoid any, yes, Ben Osman, when was the first full-size digital computer developed?
In the 1940s.
Yes, this question is very easy. 1944. It is mentioned that in the second paragraph. 1944. Next question. What kind of switches and amplifiers did the first generation of computers use? What kind of switches and amplifiers did the first generation use?
Vacuum tubes.
Vacuum tubes?
Yes.
Yes, what else?
Vacuum tubes.
Vacuum tubes, and what else?
Mrs. certain vacuum tubes that worked as switches and amplifiers. So it was only
these early machines required magnetic drums for memory and vacuum tubes that worked as switches and amplifiers. So both of them, both magnetic drums and vacuum tubes. The third question, what were vacuum tubes first replaced with?
With transistors. They were
Yes,
replaced
that's
with transistors.
correct. Yes, with transistors. The fourth one, what did the use of transistors in the second generation of computers bring about?
Less
Miss,
electricity
like for
and
example,
generate less heat.
Less? What did
Less
you say, Miss?
electricity
Yes. And
generate less heat.
yeah, so the use of transistors in the second generation of computers allowed computers and made them use less electricity and generate less heat, which was good for the development of the computers themselves. Moving on to the fifth question, which is very simple as well. What improvements were made on the second generation of computers? So you have to go back to the second generation computers.
They added core memory.
Yes. What else?
They
Faster
became
and
faster,
more
smaller.
We have two important improvement in when it comes to
faster
the
and
second
smaller.
generation. Yes. So the second generation computers were actually faster and smaller. And we've already talked about this when we were reading the text. Yes. Mahari or Mahari. Yes. Yes. Okay. Number 6. What replaced punch cards and printouts in the third generation of computers?
Miss,
Yes,
integrated circuits and
بنديخة سامي. Yes, you are raising your hand, Sami. Hajar, yes.
It's replaced keyboards and monitors.
Yes, punch cards and printouts were replaced. Were replaced. There is difference. You said it replaced. They were replaced, okay? Punch cards and printouts are the ones that were replaced by keyboards and monitors. Okay. Now, number 7. When were the first personal computers commercialized? This one is very easy.
In 1971.
1971, I would say 1970s in general. Mahari, yes. It's Mahari. Mahari, yes. Yes, the mid-70s is the correct answer. The last question. What is the core of using quantum computation and nanotechnology? What is the core
Miss,
of
can you
using these
repeat
two?
the question?
Question, the last one. What is the core of using quantum computation and nanotechnology?
Can I answer?
Yes. Significant. Now the second
Miss,
one. Yes.
can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes. Wait a second. Okay. Number 2. Achievement that come after a lot of hard work. An achievement that comes after a lot of hard work.
Miss, where are you? Which question?
We are in B. B,
Find the
find
word
words in the passage. Yes. B, number 2, sentence number 2. Achievement that comes after a lot of hard work. Try to find the right word for this definition in the text.
This is invention.
No, not really. Although an achievement, it may be correct, but it's not the only achievement that comes actually after hard work. This one is a little bit confusing, not difficult. No, it's in the beginning of the paragraph, so you have to scroll. Yes, scroll up. Yes, in the first few paragraphs. It's mentioned in the third generation paragraph, which is the fourth one, the fourth paragraph.
A breakthrough.
Yes, it's a breakthrough. This is the right word. So the definition to this word is achievement that comes after a lot of hard work. Moving on to the third one, the process of making something better. This one is very easy.
Improvement.
I'm sorry?
Improvement.
Yes, that's correct. So this is very easy. Number 4, announced something that was going to happen soon.
Heralded.
Prediction.
Heralded, yes, thank you very much. This word is not really used a lot. This is why it's a little bit difficult to understand. So announced something that was going to happen soon is heralded. Now the last one is very simple, to react to something by taking a particular course of action. What do we call the action of reacting to something?
Adaptation.
By taking a particular course of action. I'm sorry?
Adaptation.
No. That's not the right word here. Inner working? No.
This is respond.
Yes, respond. Thank you very much. So Mohammed also thinks that it's respond. Yes, that's correct. Respond is the correct answer. What do you think about this kind of questions? If you go to the first activity, the questions we were answering in the beginning, are they difficult or what?
Not really. Like they depend on your comprehension of the text.
Yes. What about the others? Do you find this kind of questions hard to answer or hard to understand?
Like B isn't really hard, but if they gave us like the paragraph, it would be much easier. Like take a lot of time to skim all the text to look for the word.
Mm-hmm. What about the vocabulary used, the language?
Miss, like for me, like it's not really hard. I don't know if it's the same for the other.
Yes, let me try and see how do the others find this kind of questions. And the language of the paragraph as well.
Not really hard.
Not really hard. So you not face any problem if you find this kind of paragraphs or questions in the exam.
Personally, I didn't have any problem.
Yes. What about the others? I want to know, what do you think about that? So I've heard that your exams are going to be for 27th. Is it true?
Yes.
27th March.
Of March, not February.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
have one extra month.
Yes, we still have 1 month to go. Less, I think. No, it's a month and few days. Okay, so let's move on.
Miss, will your exam be online or will we pass in the university?
Well, honestly, I have no idea. I think you're going to take the exam in university, not online.
Okay.
It wouldn't be possible to take the exam online, I guess.
Miss, we did it last year.
Last year online?
Yes, Miss, they gave us like a word file, and they gave us the space to answer. Like we fill the gaps, we write the paragraph. We answered the exam. We convert it to a PDF file, and we send it to them.
To the teacher. That would be better and easier. Okay, I will see. Personally, I have no idea about the exam, to be honest. I have to talk to other teachers, and then we're going to decide. Because you're going to have the same exam. It's going to be one exam for all the
second year students.
Yes, the second year students. That's correct. Okay, let's move to 2. So we have a paragraph and we need to fill in the gaps, yes, with words. Here they didn't precise what kind of words are we supposed to use. It depends on the meaning. So, but I'm going to give you a few words and you try to classify them in the paragraph. I think this would be very easy. So I'm not going to give you any. Just try to read the paragraph and answer the question. A computer is an machine which can accept data in a certain form. What kind of machines is a computer?
Electronic.
Yes, it's an electronic machine, yes. Certain form of that can accept data in a certain form, and then
ones and zeros.
No, not really.
In certain form, there's a 2.
There's a 2.
Yes, in certain forms 2. Then we have the gap. Process.
Yeah, process. Yes, process is correct. So it processes the data. Okay. So in certain form, process the data and give the result of the
Processing.
processing. Yes, thank you very much. Processing in a specified format as information. First, data is fed into the computer's
Processor.
Memory.
CPU.
Yes, memory. That's correct. It's the same actually. So, data is fed into the computer's memory. Then, when the program is
Executed.
Yes, we can say executed. We can say
Run.
run. Yes, that's correct. Yes. The computer performs calculations or
Instructions.
yes, instructions. A set of instructions.
Yeah, instructions. Yeah.
A set of instructions and processes the data. Finally, we can see on the screen or in
The result.
Yes, this is very easy. Result on the screen or in what?
A paper, like it will be printed.
Yes. So on the screen, sorry, or in printed form. So we have two options here. A computer system consists of hardware, which is any electronic or
Physical.
part you can see.
Physical.
So we say electronic.
Physical parts we can see.
Yes, physical. I'm talking about here. We need a more specific word.
Component.
Mechanical. We're talking about the mechanic part of. Okay, so we said computer system consists of hardware, which is any electronic or mechanical part you can see or touch. Software is a set of instructions called
A program.
program. This one is very easy. Piece of cake. A program which tells the computer what to do. There are three basic hardware sections: the central processing unit, CPU, main memory, and
Motherboard.
motherboard. Yes. What else?
The monitor.
Yes, here we're talking in generals. In general.
The graphic card.
Motherboard is general, miss.
Yes, miss, the motherboard.
What does it include, the motherboard?
Everything.
Everything is.
Like?
All the components are like...
The accessories. Yes, what do we call them? We use the word, specific word, when we define the input devices, if you remember.
But we have only one gap, miss. We can't include everything.
Peripherals, no?
Yes, peripherals. We mentioned this. I told you to focus on this when I gave you the definition of input devices. Remember? It's okay. So it's the same. Now let's move to the most important part of this handout. To the third page. Give me 1 second. Yes. So please go back, go to the following page number 3, language work. Here we're going to talk about simple sentences and word order. Well, for today, we're going to divide this page into two. The half of it we're going to tackle today, and the second half next time, inshallah. Okay, so if I ask you to give me an example of a simple sentence.
Good morning.
An example of your own.
I can't find an example.
No, not the examples that are mentioned in the document.
Miss, I can't find an example as my example. Miss, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What did you say? You can't find an example?
Yes, it's my example.
What about the others?
Miss, a simple sentence is an example.
A simple sentence is an example.
Yeah, Miss, without is an example. Like a simple sentence only.
Yes. So here, your sentence is, a simple sentence is an example.
Yes.
An example of what?
Miss, you asked us to give you examples.
Yes.
Example of simple sentence.
Of a sentence, a full, complete sentence. A simple one. The one you used to give in high school or college.
Yes, I am talking. Like the subject is am. We have
yes, I am talking.
Be, and talking is verb.
Yes, the stem. So I am talking is a simple sentence. What about the others?
I am thinking.
Not you, Ben Osman.
Okay.
Ben Osman, okay? I need someone else. Rida ate all the apples. Yes. Ate an apple. Loves apple. Yes, a lot of apples are included in your sentences. Thank you very much, Mahdi. Okay, so these are examples of simple sentences. So we have a subject, we have a verb. Sometimes we have stem when we need to, when the verb needs explanation and cannot stand on its own. So, and the most important thing is that we have the complete idea. The meaning is complete. We can understand what the information that's being transmitted to us by this sentence. We can have the complete idea or thought. Here in the handout, you have an example. The most common input devices are the mouse and the keyboard. Do you think that this example is correct? Is it a simple sentence?
It's very long. It's not a
Yes,
simple
yes.
sentence.
No, but simple sentences has not
Length doesn't matter anyway.
have nothing to do with the length, okay?
Sentence. Because it contains one
It is a
verb.
simple sentence.
Miss, we have
Yes,
one subject.
we have subject, we have verb. No, it doesn't have to do with one subject or two. Listen, sometimes
Isn't that the question
we have a simple sentence that includes two subjects. In this case, we call it a compound subject. We're going to see this in a few moments. But first answer the question, is it a simple sentence? Do you get the meaning out of the sentence?
Yeah.
Do you feel that there is something missing in this example?
No.
No. So here it's a full sentence. We have subject, verb, and the stem is not really important, but it finishes the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Now, following that, you have two different examples of simple sentences as well. The first one, the input and output devices are referred to as peripherals. Is this a simple sentence or no? Or not?
Yes, they are.
It is. Yes, it is. It's one simple sentence, okay? So, please take a look at the words written in bold. The input, output devices. What are these?
Subject.
Yes, we have two subjects and one verb. The input and output devices are. Where to be here is the verb. Okay, so this type of subjects, we call them compound subjects. It's a compound subject. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes.
So, moving on to the second one, a computer accepts and processes information.
Two verbs.
So we have
Compound
two
verbs.
verbs, one subject and two verbs. The verbs are accepts and processes. Both of them conjugated in the present simple. Okay, what do we call this type of verbs?
Compound verb.
Compound verb.
Stem.
Not the stem, no, verb is not stem. It's a compound verb. So we talked in the beginning about compound subjects. Now we're talking about compound verbs. So this is to answer the question of your to comment on what one of your colleagues mentioned before, that in a simple sentence we have one subject, one verb. Sometimes we do have two subjects, but we do not consider them as separate subject. Why? We call them compound subjects because they have the same verb, okay? And the same goes for the compound verbs. Is everything clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, someone to read the next paragraph. We can form simple sentences. Ben Osman.
We can form simple sentences with the subject and the verb in a single clause. We can include the auxiliary verb as part of the verb phrase and an adverbial after the verb. We can use verb with an object or without an object. We can also use the linking verbs with the complement.
Complement, yes. Now, so if I tell you that a simple sentence is one independent clause, is considered as an independent clause, what do I mean by that? Can any one of you explain this?
Miss, it can stand by its own. It
By
doesn't need.
itself?
It
Doesn't need what?
It doesn't need us to add. It doesn't need us to add something to for someone to understand it.
Yes, if you go back to the example of your classmate, the one written in the chat, Riyad or Reda ate apples, or loves eating apples, or loves apples in general. So this is an independent clause. Here we do not need to add anything in order to make the meaning complete and full. Is it clear? So these we call them independent clauses. So if we go back to the definition of this of the simple sentence in the beginning of the third handout, a simple sentence, also called an independent clause, contains a subject and a verb, and it expresses a complete thought. This is the definition of a simple sentence. This is what you need to look for in a sentence in order to know if it's simple or not. I know that you've already dealt with this in high school, but still we are here revising. Okay. Let's go back to, not go back, let's go to word order. The word order of sentences. Sentences usually start with what?
With a subject.
With a subject. With a subject. Do we always start a sentence with a subject?
No, miss. In questions, we start with the WH. I forgot how we call them.
Yes, WH questions, yes. What else?
Miss, we also have forgot how we call it, miss, the passive and the active form,
Yes,
where we don't have the subject.
The passive voice, yes, the passive voice, yes. Mm-hmm.
We don't have the subject. We don't know who has done the action.
Yes, this is just to highlight and shed the light on the fact that we do not always start by the subject. Sentences do not all the time start with the subject, okay? We have few exceptions. It depends on the writer, okay? And the style used, okay? So the first element here is the subject of the sentence is usually put before the verb. Except in questions. Here it's mentioned, example, what is a computer? Did Usama or Ahmed eat my food, for example? Okay, number 2, adverbs. Can you give me examples of adverbs?
Slowly. No, sorry, it's an adjective.
Mm-hmm. No, slow can be an adverb. I'm sorry, slow can be an adverb. For example, he is walking. His walk is very slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the function of adverbs in a sentence? What do they do? Adverbs.
It's to emphasize, to emphasize something.
To emphasize something?
Yeah.
What is this thing? Yes, I want you to tell me about the thing that adverbs emphasize.
The things that is happening in our sentence.
Yes, listen, the main function of the adverb is to modify and give more information about the adjective, the action, or the subject itself. Is it clear? So the adverb modifies the sentence, including adjectives, the verbs, the actions, verbs means actions, and the subject itself. And sometimes the adverb modifies another adverb. We can have sentences with 2 or 3 adverbs in a row. Is it clear? So if we go to the example given in this handout, it's a reasonably cheap computer. Here, what is the adverb?
Reasonably, and the adjective is cheap. Like here, it's like that is very cheap.
So here we are modifying the price.
Yeah.
We are emphasizing on the fact that the computer is cheap. It's very cheap. Okay, it's a form of exaggeration, actually. Now, what comes after the verb? Where do we? Sorry, let me rephrase this sentence. The question. Where do we place adverbs?
Sometimes before adjectives.
Yes.
Or after a noun. Or after
Yes.
a
So
verb.
here it depends on the sentence. It depends on the sentence. In the handout, it is mentioned that after verbs of movement, for example, come, go, arrive, walk, etc., verbs of movement that include an action, okay, movement, we place the adverbs of place first. The adverb is placed first, okay? Can you give me an example? An example that's not mentioned in the handout.
Miss, can you repeat?
We said when we have verbs of movement, for example, to arrive, to go, to jump, to walk, to run, etc. Okay, we use the adverbs of movement. Of placed first. They've given you an example. She moves to the next page quickly. Here we have quickly and
Miss, he's moving
next.
slowly.
I'm sorry?
He's moving slowly.
Slowly, yes. That's correct. But you need to give me, for example, an adverb of movement. Next, for example, it's hard actually to give examples when it comes to adverbs of movement, especially when we have two adverbs, like in this case. The next is an adverb and quickly is an adverb as well. So one of the adverbs, is placed before the object, and the other one is placed after the object. Is this point clear? Because it's somehow confusing.
Yeah, it's clear.
Can you think of another example in which you have two adverbs?
He moved to the next room quickly.
Come on, it's the same example. Do you want me to send you a list of adverbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss, can you also give us the correction of this file?
Of where? Weren't you writing?
Miss, like I'm sharing the screen, like I'm on my laptop, like I can't write at the same time.
Okay, I will try to send you later on the correction of the first and the second unit, if it's possible.
Thank you, Miss.
Just send me an email to remind me, because I have a short memory, okay? And let me also remind me to send you a list of adverbs of movement, of place and of time, and okay? And also, I don't think that I have to send you adverbs of frequency, because you already know these.
Yes, like always, never, rarely.
Yes, I know that you've already seen them in high school. Okay. Yes. By the way, I'm going to write a sentence in the chat. I'm sorry. Yes, before the meeting ends. And I'm going to ask you to try and find what type of sentence is this. Yes, I know. So it's, I know you wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be a teacher. To send to everyone. Please take a screenshot before the meeting ends. I know that you wanted to be, verb to be is missing here. I know that you wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be a teacher. We've talked about simple sentences, okay? But try to guess what type of sentence is this. Yes, I know that you wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be a teacher. Yes. So we're going, you don't have to send me this via email. We're going to do it orally next time, inshallah. So we're going to stop here and try to read the third page, please. The remaining, yes. I'm sorry?
What should we do with these sentences?
What sentence? You have only one sentence. I've typed and sent it to you. Just, I said, try to find or guess what type of sentence is this.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of types of sentences. We have compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences as well. Try to guess what kind of sentence is this. And we will talk more and in detail next time, inshallah. Is it clear?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's clear.
Yes. I'm going to end